Good evening. I'm Jen King. I'm the Executive Director of the Council, and I'm really delighted to have you all here. I know when you change dates for special events, it really is hard in an already busy season for people to be flexible, but I think we definitely lucked out with the weather, so thank you for your flexibility, and thank you for being here. I'm going to start off by turning the microphone over to one of our board members, Julie Smith.
Thanks, Jen. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. As Jen said, I'm Julie Smith. I serve on the board of directors of the council. I want to welcome you to the Council of Southeast Pennsylvania's annual Tree of Hope dedication, a holiday tradition where our caring community comes together to celebrate, to honor, to dedicate, to commemorate those whose lives have been touched by addiction. The Tree of Hope is so incredibly important to me and my family since losing my own brother David to an overdose in 2013. I remember the first year we attended the Tree of Hope, and it was less than 1 year after David's passing. My mom and I and David's son Russ walking up to the big beautiful tree in the old courthouse, listening to Cordis Mundi chorus, and after months of feeling so alone in our grief, realizing that night that we weren't alone at all. I've had the privilege and honor of serving on the board for close to 4 years now, and I've been given the unique opportunity to see the council through many different lenses. I discovered them in 2013 when I was looking for a trusted place to start a grant, the Davis New Day grant, in my brother's memory, and have continued to work side by side with them in helping individuals find hope and recovery. But being on the board has allowed for a behind-the-curtain view of this amazing organization. One that is passionate about their vision, transforming lives through sustained recovery, and one that wears many hats, from prevention and education work, from providing training for certified recovery support specialists, intervention and treatment support services, just to name a few, and is led by Executive Director Jennifer King, who guides with such intelligence and compassion and inspires her staff and board and volunteers to continue to do this great work. But I know Jen would say herself, it takes a village. So we're grateful to all who work to make tonight's event possible. Those whose donations will help others find hope and support in recovery. The PROACT volunteers and staff who have helped plan this event. The local recovery houses and other providers for helping plan and for volunteering tonight and throughout the year. And of course, DJ Charles for the entertainment tonight. Also, a special thank you to all the program partners we get to work alongside with each day to serve our community. Some of those partners are here with us tonight, and I'd ask you to join me in welcoming them. Commissioner Bob Harvey, Diane Rosati, Executive Director of the Bucks County Drug and Alcohol Commission, and Dr. Toby Brune, Foundation's Community Partnership. Many of you have been part of the Tree of Hope dedication ceremony in the past 30 years, perhaps with the giant tree in the Bucks County Courthouse, as I said, where my family and I first attended the event, and more recently in the Bucks County Justice Center and even on Zoom. We are thrilled to be back at the Southern Bucks Recovery Community Center for the second year, and so grateful for this spectacular weather. So on behalf of the board of directors, myself, and of course Dr. Corey London is here as well, of the Council of Southeast Pennsylvania, we welcome you and thank you for joining us this evening and for your support today and every day. And now it's my pleasure to invite Bucks County Commissioner Bob Harvey to come forward. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the ability to be here, and I appreciate all the work that is going into helping those who are battling addiction. And I mean, not just the partners, not just the council and the people you see up here, but the people themselves. Those of you out there who are in recovery, that work, that clearly, as we know, is the hardest work. As hard as the people who work here work to help you, the work you're doing is harder. It's an honor to be here on behalf of the county. Commissioner Marseglia was here briefly. She had another event, a ceremony at the community college she's on her way to. But I'll be putting this on the tree for my cousin Jack, who lost his struggle about 30 years ago. And so clearly we know that this is a disease that affects everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, doesn't matter your color, your political philosophy, your gender, anything else. So thank you for what you're doing. Stay strong, keep fighting. Every day is a battle. Win every day. You won today, move on to win tomorrow. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.
And as Julie mentioned, it does take a village. I want to thank our PROACT director, Heather Fechtenberg, for the team she leads. And then welcome our Southern Bucks Recovery Community Center coordinator, Rachel Billows.
My name's Rachel Billows, sometimes Montone, and I'm the center coordinator here at PROACT Southern Bucks Recovery Community Center. Tonight, I am pleased to share the presentation of the Tom Nelson Award. An early leader of PROACT, Tom Nelson, strived to create an organization that would advocate for the recovery community. We have designated a special award in his honor to recognize an individual whose volunteer service has been inspirational and instrumental in our mission of care. The Tom Nelson Award is a special designation that acknowledges an individual who exemplifies outstanding volunteerism. This year's recipient is Archie Kellogg. Tonight's recipient of the Tom Nelson Award has been here for at least 5 years longer than me. On an almost daily basis, he is one of the first people to arrive every morning, taking on the tasks that many others shy away from, like emptying the trash, cleaning the bathroom, etc. Often referred to as SBRCC's mascot, Archie is a fixture here at the center, and an incredibly devoted one at that. Is there often grumbling and grouching that accompanies his devotion and service? Yeah, sure, of course there is. But is it evident how much PROACT means to him and how important it is to him to do his part in continuing our mission to help others? Absolutely. It is my honest pleasure to introduce tonight's Tom Nelson Award for Outstanding Volunteerism to Archibald Kellogg.
Hi everybody, I'm Archie. I'm a knockoff man. My name is Archie, and I have been volunteering at PROACT for at least 8 years. So,
Just bring it a little closer, that's all.
at least 8 years. I started in Doylestown when Jeannie was my CRS. When I moved back to this area, I started volunteering here at the center. There have been a lot of changes at this recovery center since then, and they have all been positive. I feel like I have a home and that I am a part of something, and that means so much to me right now. And these people have become my family. Even though I have completed the CRS services, the CRS team still helps me so much. They inspire me to help others, which also contributes to help me. I can relate to a lot of what our participants are going through, and it feels good to be there for them and get to help them. I feel very supported by everybody here, and it means a lot to me. I look forward to coming here each and every day. Having a purpose has given me more confidence. For instance, I can stand up here and talk to you people, and I couldn't have done that before. Volunteering at PROACT has also helped me with my anxiety and having more patience. And in a lot of ways, I feel like Heather and her staff had saved my life. I've had some struggles with my drinking during my time here at PROACT, and they didn't turn their backs on me. I don't know how many times I should have been kicked out of here, but but they didn't give up on me, and that and helped me to get into a program. I am so grateful for that. This place has also helped with my gratitude, and boy, I did need that help. I look forward to continuing to volunteer here at PROACT and hope to see you all at the center. Thank you all. Thank you.
Congratulations, Archie. I love that we recognize people who then tell us, the center's been great for my anxiety, but Jen and Rachel and Heather made me come up here and do public speaking, which is very anxiety producing. So thank you, Archie, for that part, but also for everything you do every day. The council, in our a little commercial for 2025, because we'll be celebrating 50 years. And 50 years of nonprofit service around a mission to transform lives through sustained recovery does not happen without incredible volunteer service. And tonight we also have two of our previous Tom Nelson Award winners. So I want to recognize Helen Bradford and Kathy McQuarrie. So they didn't know I was going to do that, but really, we're so blessed to have had over our 50-year history, pillars of recovery, pillars of volunteer service, who then help us help so many others. So thank you, Kathy, thank you, Helen, thank you, Archie, and thank you all of our volunteers. Really, very, very grateful. And I will ask Julie to come up again to do our next introduction.
In this season of holiday celebrations, bright lights, and joyful greetings, we know that there are many for whom it can be a season of loss or grief and of remembrance of those whose lives have been lost to addiction. Creating space for just these feelings is such an important part of why our Tree of Hope tradition has come to mean so much to our community. It's truly inspiring when families who've experienced the deepest loss find ways to turn their grief into a powerful force for helping others. Our next speaker and those she works with in the SEAS group have done just that. SEAS stands for Siblings Ending Addiction Stigma, and Sarah is here tonight to remember her brother, Robbie. I'm thrilled that I personally get to introduce Sarah. I met Sarah years ago as I, too, am a member of SEAS. We, along with other siblings, have bonded and supported each other over the years. When the group first formed, we were just a few individuals meeting at Starbucks or Panera Bread. And now, with Sarah's amazing leadership, the group has grown and is now being guided by an amazing therapist. SEAS also makes a point to join community events to spread awareness of their group and make sure that everybody knows that a group like this does exist. And they give back by donating clothing to organizations. So we're so honored to have Sarah here with us tonight to talk about her brother and share more about her work with SEAS. Sarah?
Thank you, Julie, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you all for allowing me to share with you tonight. My brother Robbie, 26 years old, the baby of our family, yet the tallest of three of us, a little awkward, would do anything for a laugh, was a mama's boy with a gentle soul. He loved music of any kind. He could drop a Snoop Dogg song at any moment, but then sing every word to Kenny Rogers' Gambler. He would often sing at the top of his lungs, but unfortunately for the rest of us, couldn't carry a tune. His red hair was usually a little unkempt, his pants a size too big, he didn't own a belt, nor did he care to, and he walked to the beat of his own drum. I referred to him as my real-life Napoleon Dynamite one time, to which he responded back, My lips hurt really bad, and your mom goes to college. Robbie had a wicked sense of humor, loved tattoos, monkeys, really bad horror movies, which he subjected us all to, and photography. He was college educated, loved his family, his friends. He was a son, a brother, an uncle, and he was and is so much more than what ended his life. December 23rd, 2015 is a day that changed my life. I will never again be the person I was prior to that day. I remember the day in painstaking detail. What I was doing at work when my husband unexpectedly showed up, the look in his eyes that immediately told me something was wrong. As he told me what happened, I couldn't comprehend the words. How could this happen? My brother. I was so confused. I didn't understand. A drug overdose. I made him tell me again. And I looked at my husband and I said, he died? And he nodded his head. What I didn't know was that roughly 6 months before this day, Robbie started doing drugs and using heroin. My family lived an hour and a half away from us, and they, along with my brother, chose to hide his addiction from us. Tom, Kirsten, Patrick, and I had spent time with Robbie that Thanksgiving, and he seemed perfectly fine. I'm glad we were able to spend the time with him because the last memory we have are good, and I know that many of us aren't fortunate to have that last memory. After Robbie's funeral was over and the calls and the texts stopped, and once I realized that not everyone else's world stopped turning like I thought mine had, I started my new normal. I began to learn what grief can really do to a person. I tried to hide my grief and heal it by myself. Self-help books, you need one on grief, hit me up because I probably have it. Did I read all of them? No, but let me buy the next one because it probably has the answer I'm looking for. If getting angry at the world and the people who held me up during these trying times would heal my grief, I wouldn't be standing here tonight. However, I am lucky that those same people that would hold me up still stand here with me tonight. I tried multiple therapists more than once. We rescued a dog 6 weeks later after my brother passed away. My kids and husband tried so hard for so many years to get me to rescue a dog, but I was weak, and this one dog, he was so cute, I had to have him. So I caved, but from the day that dog came home with us, he knew what his job was, and 9 years later, he still knows. Hawkeye will climb on my lap, all 50 pounds of him, and just sit there until I'm better. And then when we adopted him, we realized he died, he was born the same week my brother died, as if he was meant to be. By the way, we now have 2 dogs. I'm not sure why I waited so long. I started what I call grief group shopping. I'd go from one meeting to another, but just didn't feel comfortable enough at any of them. It didn't have anything to do with those meetings. They were great. It was me. I would listen to the people talk about how they lost their significant others, their husbands, their wives, their parents, and I just couldn't handle it. It brought on more anxiety to me because I couldn't think of how I would go on with my life losing my husband after all of this. At one meeting that I finally found, this gentleman had said to me, you know, my daughters, they meet at Panera with other siblings who lost their brother or sister due to substance use. And the first meeting with them, I knew this is where I needed to be. Everyone understood there was no judgment on how my brother died. And I had finally found my people. Sorry, thought I could do this without crying. And that is how our group sees siblings ending addiction stigma started to grow. We're an exclusive group for those who have lost a sibling to substance use disorder, a safe space for compassion and understanding without judgment of your loved one, you, and your family. Our stories are all different, but unfortunately the ending is the same. And for me, there is healing in being able to share with people who understand. I'm proud to be the spokesperson for our group. And SEES does some volunteering, as Julie mentioned, and over the last couple of months, with help from our family and friends, We collected winter gear, and last week a couple of us teamed up with another local organization and went to the community night at Prevention Point in Kensington, where we gave out the items and fed over 200 hot meals. We attend local resource events and let the people know that our group is out there and that we are here to help support you or someone you may know. Sibling grief is so profound, and it's often the loss of someone so personal who shared your entire life with you. We are frequently referred to as the forgotten grievers. We are told to look after our parents and other brothers and sisters, which we gladly do, but please don't forget that we also need someone to look after us. Even the strongest of us need support. When we lose a sibling, we lose part of our past, the present, and the future, and our siblings are the ones that should be here with us, growing old and living this roller coaster of life with us. Although it took me a long time to realize, my life didn't only change for bad when I lost my brother. I've learned a lot about myself since this day. I've grown mentally, my priorities have changed, my outlooks are different, and I tell people I love them more now because I want to leave no doubt. I take less for granted. My brother's death has taught me many things and brought people into my life that have helped me more than I could ever think. I do things now that I never would have done before Robbie's death. I didn't have a passion for things like I do now. Need me to go to a mental health fair and talk about our group? Sign me up. Before December 23rd, 2015, if someone would have told me that one day I'd stand in front of a crowd of strangers and tell them my story for the first time, I would have laughed. But tonight I stand here in front of you. I do it with pride and in memory of my brother, and I am honored to be here. If we can continue to honor our siblings and tell our story and how no matter their cause of death, that they are still our person, our brother, sister, and friend, we can continue to chip away at the stigma that is substance use disorder. Remember, whether we lost our brother or sister a month ago, 2 years, or 9 years ago, we miss them every day and still grieve. We always will. Please remember to say their name and tell us their stories. Don't think that someone who is grieving doesn't want to hear their loved one's name. Please feel free to reach out to me if you lost a sibling to substance use disorder, because grief shared is grief diminished. If we grieve together, we can heal together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. How beautifully spoken, and really speaks to what we hope is a key part of the Tree of Hope tradition, making space in this season of almost unrelenting joy, making space for the grief and the loss that's part of living with substance use disorder in our communities, in our families, and even with our brothers and sisters. At this time, we will invite those whose ornament is in memory of someone. So we'll have another time in a little bit. But at this time, if you want to commemorate a life lost, please come forward and put your ornaments on the tree. Thank you, everyone. And for our next section, we want to recognize someone who can't be here, but she has a very good reason. And you'll hear more about her work from our staff member, Luke Soriano. But Amanda is a medical student learning how to be a doctor. And so she's on her surgery rotation. And as our board member, Dr. Corey London, can address, that doesn't have a lot of flexibility. So she was all set for our original date, but the rain date meant she couldn't be with us tonight. But we didn't want to not share her story, especially because the work that she is doing, I'm convinced, is changing lives today, tomorrow, and 25 years from now, because it's changing the way people entering the field of medicine think about recovery. So Luke, do you want to tell us a little bit about the project? Please welcome Luke Soriano, one of our CRS staff.
Good evening, everybody. Happy holidays and go Birds. I'm Luke Soriano. I'm grateful to be a CRS that's part of the Warm Handoff program with Jefferson Hospital. So it's our custom to also recognize those who have been rays of hope and helped others in their recovery. This year, we wanted to recognize Amanda Guth and celebrate her and the partnership between PCOM students, Jefferson Hospitals, and PROACT. Amanda developed this innovative program that will help those preparing for a career in healthcare to develop their understanding of substance use disorders, recovery supports, and the powerful roles peers, especially CRSs, can play in helping people in their recovery. As Jen said, Amanda is not here tonight, but as a sign of appreciation, can we give her a round of applause, please?
Thank you, Luke. As I said, we'll find a way to celebrate her story, probably in our anniversary year, because it really is an innovative program. She reached out to Heather, and they thought together and they planned together. And so students studying get to learn about recovery. They learn about what a certified recovery specialist can do. They spend some time shadowing CRS in the hospitals. And so they really learn the power of peer work in helping people transform their lives. They learn how to think about and adjust their own thinking about people who are using drugs. And they really do that at the formational time of their work as medical students. So as I said, I think it really is going to transform thousands and thousands of people's experience of going into the hospital. And the next speaker, Fred Shuey, one of our CRS training staff, will introduce our last speaker. And then after that, we'll have one more opportunity to place ornaments. Fred, thank you.
Thanks, Jen. I am Fred Shuey. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and I've worked for the council for 11 years. Every year, we honor an individual in long-term recovery who has used their lived experience to make a positive impact on the community. We recognize this individual as our ambassador of recovery. This year's recipient is Gina Higgins. Gina is an advocate for recovery with strong ties across multiple counties. She uses her lived experience, both personally and professionally, to expand recovery support services and educate others on the value of peers. I've had the pleasure of working with Gina over the past several years, and she doesn't know this, but her strong, positive, upbeat attitude has inspired me to reconnect and strengthen my own commitment to this work and to recovery. She is dedicated to building the recovery movement. She puts a positive face on recovery, and she gives me great hope for the future. And I can't miss my writing. It is my privilege and an honor to introduce Gina Higgins. Close enough.
Good evening, everyone. I am Gina Higgins. I am a person in long-term sustained recovery, and for me what that means is that I have not used substances since August 12, 2014. I just celebrated 10 years this past August. Substance use affected my life long before I ever picked up a drink or a drug. I am someone who, both of my parents struggle with substance use and alcohol use. My dad was a victim of the opioid epidemic, and I lost him at 13 years old to an overdose. My mom continues to struggle to this day with her alcohol use. I spent 10 years actively using substances and all that comes with that. I have been to inpatient treatment 7 times, multiple outpatient treatments, good old George W. Hill in Delaware County 7 times. It was my home away from home for 2 years. And then suffered multiple overdoses. on 7 different occasions. My struggle with substances was filling a void. It filled some kind of void, whether that was losing my dad, whether that was, growing up being one of 5 children and feeling like the forgotten child. Because everyone else always had an issue and it was never about me. And I got really overwhelmed with the expectations that came with growing up. So I'm someone who, for my entire elementary and high school career, had straight A's, had perfect attendance, and I had all of these expectations thrown on me that I was going to go to college and I was going to do great things. And those expectations, for me, pushed me the other way. I didn't want to feel overwhelmed. I didn't want to feel like I held the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I turned to substances. Throughout my substance use, I'm sure everyone here knows the devastation that comes with that. My daughter's here tonight, so I apologize if I tear up. I had my daughter when I was 21 years old, and for the first 7 years of her life, I used substances and I was absent. My last year using substances, she missed 46 days of school because I could not get out of bed. I say that to say she's here tonight. She just got her first 2 college acceptance letters. So she's doing amazing things. The best part of my recovery has been to forge that relationship with her, truly show her how proud I am of her, and in return, see how proud she is of me. You see, she's been a part of the majority of my struggles, but she's also been the biggest part of my recovery. I went through drug treatment court in Delaware County, which, if anyone here is on drug treatment court, is challenging to say the least. And started my professional career at Crozier Recovery Center in Delaware County. I was the CRS for drug treatment court. I did warm handoff in the hospitals, engaging with individuals who presented for any drug or alcohol-related incident. Moved on to become the manager of that program, and for 6 years, we've perfected it. We saw over 100 individuals throughout Delaware County on a monthly basis, and we're able to place 85% of them into treatment if that is what they wanted to do. After Crozier shut down all of their services, I moved into Philadelphia County and worked at the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services at the Journey of Hope Project as a CRS supervisor. I stand before you today, someone who suffered multiple overdoses, who's been to inpatient treatment multiple times, who has been incarcerated on multiple different occasions. I work for the Montgomery County Office of Drug and Alcohol as their CRS coordinator. I work for the government, which is a huge deal for someone who has been through what I have been through. I also, one of the biggest blessings in my life, and I say this all the time, is I get the opportunity to teach others, right? I get the opportunity to talk to them about the strengths as well as the challenges and the successes that come from giving back and helping others on a daily basis. I was talking to Sarah before this, and I talked about how a lot of times I get imposter syndrome, right? With the opioid epidemic being what it is and all of the lives that we lose every day from substance use disorder, I feel like I get imposter syndrome. Why me? Why is this my life today? And why didn't the person whose life was lost 30 minutes ago get that opportunity? And her response to me was, why not you? And that is exactly the hope that I needed to fill my soul tonight. I want to say thank you to everyone here. One of my favorite quotes in the entire world, and I say this at every event that I go to, is the opposite of addiction is not recovery. The opposite of addiction is community. So look beside you, look around this parking lot, because there are so many people here, and this is exactly the community that we all need, even though some of us don't know that we need it. So thank you all for coming. Thank you so much to PROACT and the council and Fred and Jen and Heather and Allie and John and all of them. They do such amazing work day in and day out. It fills my soul with gratitude every time I get to engage with one of them. So thank you so much for coming, and I'll pass it back to Jen.
All right, and now if everyone who wants to place an ornament in honor of someone's recovery. Thank you, Gina, for such beautiful, inspirational words. Anyone who wants to hang an ornament in honor of someone's recovery, in honor and hope for someone still seeking help, or in celebration of those community partners who are helping others along the way, please do so now. Thank you, everyone. And a long-standing part of the tradition of this event is our recovery prayer. I believe we have some printed copies, and some people might have those if you want to join me in reciting the recovery prayer. And after that, we'll say good night. Please know we are grateful for each and every person who has joined us tonight, those who wanted to be here when we were going to come together last Wednesday. We wish you peace throughout the coming weeks. We wish you joy. And we wish you community, as Gina so beautifully said. So let's join together in saying the recovery prayer. God of all, we give you thanks that we are not alone. We celebrate those today whose experiences provide hope for others. We give you thanks that you give us one another to walk with. We renew our commitment that no one who loses their life to an addiction dies in vain. Guide and protect those individuals and institutions that provide care and treatment to the addicted. May we seek to give others as much support and hope as we receive from them. Amen. Thank you all for being here, and I wish you a very safe home and a very happy holiday season.